It's Quincy Reviews. Fair use only, fair use only. It's safe to say that in this age of ever-growing franchises, Paramount's Sonic the Hedgehog series is one of the strongest and most beloved. Considering how the 2020 original is best known for redoing the titular character's design after online outcry, it's clear director Jeff Fowler knows exactly what fans of the Blue Speedster want, and is happy to give it to them. And so comes Sonic the Hedgehog 3, closing out the year with perhaps one of 2024's most anticipated arrivals. In some ways, the Sonic the Hedgehog movies are tricky to break into if you're not a fan of the games. Though Fowler and writers Pat Casey, Josh Miller and John Whittington keep the references easy to follow, I still get the impression they're winking at those in the know. At the same time, it's a testament to the playful, warm atmosphere Fowler has created that Sonic the Hedgehog 3 still manages to be so welcoming to outsiders like me. Sonic the Hedgehog 3 picks up sometime after the events of its 2022 predecessor, which saw the apparent demise of Dr. Robotnik, played by Jim Carrey, and the arrival of Knuckles the Echidna, hilariously portrayed by Idris Elba. Sonic, voiced by Ben Schwartz, has settled into his found family with Tom, played by James Marsden, and Maddie, portrayed by Tika Sumpter, basking in the peace that comes after saving the day from a mad scientist. Of course, the peace doesn't last long before Sonic, Knuckles and Tails, voiced by Colleen O'Shaughnessy, are soon called up by GUN, the Guardian Units of Nations, to deal with a new threat. Said threat is the character teased at the end of Sonic the Hedgehog 2, Shadow, voiced by Keanu Reeves, an incredibly powerful hedgehog with black and red coloring instead of blue. Shadow's been kept in containment for years after a mysterious incident at the lab he was housed in, but with the help of a somewhat familiar adversary, he's gotten out and he's looking for revenge. Fans of the games will know the truth of Shadow's backstory from the get-go, but I won't get into too much detail here for anyone who doesn't know their rings from their Chaos Emeralds. Suffice to say, Shadow's suffering from a broken heart, a far cry from his fellow anthropomorphic hedgehog. In many ways, he's Sonic's mirror, and that only makes their conflict more compelling, particularly later on when a spoiler-worthy plot point arises. Reeves' casting as Shadow was heavily rumored before it was announced, to the point where it was assumed he'd be perfect, well ahead of anyone actually hearing his rendition. Much like how Knuckles stole the show in Sonic 2, Shadow is the standout of the third movie. Fowler effectively introduces him and his backstory through engagingly staged action sequences and heart-tugging flashbacks. In many ways, he's Sonic's mirror, and that only makes their conflict more compelling, particularly later on when a spoiler-worthy plot point arises. Reeves does a brilliant job conveying Shadow's hurt and steel, adding to his formidable presence. On top of the threat Shadow poses, there's also the return of Carrey's eccentric Robotnik, who naturally isn't as dead as Sonic 2 might have suggested. In fact, there are two Robotniks now, as Evo is reunited with his long-lost grandfather Gerald, also played by Carrey. Though the beloved actor is largely retired these days, he hardly misses a step in bringing the wacky villains to life, throwing himself into the dual roles with gusto and plenty of his signature physicality. Despite all that, this is still a Sonic movie, even if the blue blur at times feels like an afterthought in his own story. This time around, he's grappling with the concept of being part of a team alongside Tails and Knuckles. Schwartz's vocal performance is as energetic and amusing as ever, but the character's arc drops in and out of the story, giving it a disjointed feeling. Sonic the Hedgehog 3 reels it back in by the end, offering a satisfying conclusion that shows the lead character has learned a thing or two from his latest adventure. It is true, there are two post-credit scenes featuring thrilling cameos not unlike the two previous movies. It seems all but certain that Sonic has a number of big screen adventures ahead of him, and I have full confidence that his fans will be happy to take that journey with him. This is a franchise that has treated its supporters with respect while opening its arms to newcomers. Because of that, the weaker elements of the film feel unimportant in the wake of a genuinely entertaining time that will no doubt thrill audiences of all ages.
It's Quincy Reviews, Babby.